Prices have skyrocketed in recent years and things seem harder than ever. Many people believe it is impossible to live on one income these days. And I am here to tell you that for the majority of people, that is just untrue. Living on one income is entirely possible. I am not here to sell you some dream that you're going to be able to have a big fancy house and the 2 cars and have the same lifestyle as living on 2 incomes on 1 income. It's not going to be the same as stay-at-home moms in the 80s and 90s. Things are going to look a little different, but I promise you it's still going to be worthwhile. Sometimes when I mention this, I come across some negativity on the matter. People who say it simply cannot be done in today's economy. And I'm going to start off by saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I love this saying because it is so true. The second you believe something is not possible, you will never put in the effort to find ways to make it possible. The second is that if you believe it's possible, your mind will always be searching for ways to make it that way. It may not be easy, it's definitely going to be work, and it's possible there might have to be sacrifice. But that's what you get for anything that you really want in life. I quit my job in 2020 to stay home with my kids, cutting our income down by half. And I will share with you right now all the things that we did to make that possible. The first and biggest thing that we did was that we moved. We started off living in a bigger, more expensive city center that was starting to boom, which meant that houses were getting very expensive. If we had decided to buy a house there, we wouldn't have been able to even afford a townhouse. So we looked around at other places to live and found a small community that had little growth, and it was very affordable. And it was also the exact same commute time for my husband to go to work, so it was the perfect move for us. By moving to a much more affordable area, we were able to afford a house for a much lower price, and it also had a big backyard. That backyard was very important to us so that we would be able to grow food, another factor in affording this lifestyle. The house we bought was also a fixer-upper. We did a lot of work on it with things that we found used, free, or cheap. And then we put in an apartment. I had someone try to debate with my argument of living on one income is possible by pointing out that my mother happens to live with us and she pays a bit of rent. But that was another thing that we did to make this lifestyle work for us. We house hacked. And for the people that would like to come at me for having my mother pay rent, she wants to pay rent. She feels pride in ownership that way. She doesn't feel like she's using us in any way. And we don't charge her even half of market value. So that's a win-win for both of us. But that's not the point. The point here is that we decided to house hack, and that helped us get to where we are to be able to live on one income. Many people can do this by either purchasing a duplex or a triplex and renting out other parts of the house, or converting a house into 2 units and then renting out part of the house, and then that way it can help take care of your mortgage payment. When we moved, we started planting and converting as much of our lawn as possible into growing space. We have fruit trees and bushes and a large vegetable plot. I also have a lot of container gardens to extend my garden space as much as possible. I grow as much food as I possibly can, which helps to bring the grocery costs down. I also learned to preserve that food, to be able to have cheap food on hand as much of the year as we can. I started off with used equipment before investing in better ones. There is an argument that canning and preserving does have a startup cost, and this is true, but it is possible to find used equipment, especially if you're looking on Facebook Marketplace. Sometimes there's older women who do not wish to do this anymore and they're selling their items. Same with jars. Always look on Facebook Marketplace or thrift stores. They are great places to find these things. Pressure canners are a bit more of an investment. You can start off with the cheaper pressure canners if that is what you can afford, but they do not last as long. That is something that I think if you're going to do, you should save up and invest in the All-American canner. Those things are tanks, and I'm pretty sure mine will last until my grandkids are using it. It is just built to last, and it's quality. And that's something else that we make sure we do, is when we are investing in something, we make sure that we're investing in quality item that will last a very long time. That way we're not constantly having to buy new things that are breaking because they're low quality. So when it comes to certain things, do your investigation, do your research, and buy a very quality item so that it's not breaking. Thrifting is another hack that we use to save money. Many people point out that thrift stores aren't worth it anymore. And I agree, there are a lot that are way overcharging for things. Facebook Marketplace is just as bad these days. You have to search for the gems. In my area, I find that the Salvation Army thrift stores are great, and the ones being run by hospitals are typically pretty good as well. But I absolutely love the church rummage sales. They have tons of things and oftentimes will let you fill a bag for $1. So search for those gems because they are around and they are wonderful deals. But definitely avoid the things like Value Village or Goodwill because yes, they are overcharging for so many things. I was even in a thrift store recently that had brand new Walmart shoes on for $35. And when I went to Walmart, these shoes were only $25. So they were charging over the store-bought brand new price at the thrift store. And I was just blown away. It was such a ripoff. So it was really unfortunate that they were taking advantage of people in that way. And I find it really disgusting that thrift stores are doing this now. It's very upsetting, but make sure you're taking a look for those gems and make sure you're looking at church rummage sales because I think those are the places to be these days. And saving money on the grocery budget is huge. Groceries can cost a ton of money, especially when you're raising children. So saving here is really important. Shopping sales, loss leaders, bulk, and clearance can save a ton of money. Cooking and baking from scratch, focusing on budget meals, all of this can save tons of money for you. I have an entire playlist on budget meals to help save money. I'll have that linked in the description so you can go and check it out. There's tons of ideas there for you. Meat can be incredibly expensive these days, so I find switching to some meatless meals throughout the week can really save a lot of money. I know rice and beans can sometimes sound boring, but there's really delicious ways to cook those to make them very tasty and family friendly. And don't forget baking snacks. Snacks can really add up, especially when you have children, and they can be very expensive. Not to mention that they're also full of preservatives and things that aren't necessarily great to ingest. So I think homemaking all the snacks really saves a lot of money. So I make sure that I'm doing a lot of baking and having homemade snacks on hand at all times. And there's also a lot of other skills that you can learn to learn how to fix things and to mend things. A lot of people, when their clothes get holes in them or they get damaged in any way, they just toss it out or stop using it and go buy more. Where if you learn how to mend, you can just fix it and keep wearing it and keep it as long as possible to make sure that you're not buying as many clothes. And the same goes with fixing things. Both my husband and I have learned how to fix many things. Thanks goodness my husband has learned how to fix almost anything. It's incredibly unfortunate lately that things not only are made to break, but there's no available parts to be able to fix them. So there's a lot lately that sometimes we'll find it breaks and we do our best to fix it, but there's no parts available. So sometimes we've also been known to go buy clearance or used things so that we can find a different part just to fix it. And then in the end, you're saving a little bit of money, but being able to fix things in general, especially when it comes down to cars or vehicles or home repair, taking out that middleman and fixing it yourself can save a ton of money. So make sure that you are gaining those skills, learning how to fix things, because if you're not paying somebody to come in and fix your plumbing or fix your car or anything like that, the amount of money you can save is incredible. We also don't do luxury items. We cut our own hair and don't go to the hairstylists. I don't get my nails done, and my husband doesn't golf or do fantasy football or any of that. We rarely eat out. That's saved mainly just for special occasions like birthdays or an anniversary. I spend days making freezer meals for the days where it's hard or I don't want to cook. This keeps us from ordering takeout. Because I don't know about where you guys live, but takeout in my area is absurd. Pizza for a family of 4 right now is about $65 to get it delivered. It's a little crazy, and I just can't stomach being able to spend that much on takeout when I could make something equally tasty at home and feed my family with leftovers for $10 to $15. Or I could make a meal with vegetables from our garden and the meal just costs a couple of dollars. So again, saving tons of money by taking out this one step. So I do find having freezer meals available to me does save a lot of money, because there's definitely those days where we're rushed and we get home late, or maybe I'm not feeling very well and I really don't want to cook. So being able to pull out an already done dinner just to pop it in the oven or in the crock pot, that is huge. I know before I started doing this, I was ordering takeout more often just because there's definitely days where you're not going to want to cook. So preparing for that is really important. As for vacations, this is a season of our life where we are not taking fancy vacations. There's no resorts or cruises or anything like that. Our vacations are typically very inexpensive. We like to go tent camping and road trips where we camp. And if we happen to do a bigger vacation, it's typically saved for a Christmas present. And I will make sure that I save credit card points so that I can pay for it entirely with points. This past Christmas, our gift to the children was to take them to Great Wolf Lodge. And I paid for this entirely with credit card points. So this made that Christmas gift essentially free. Christmas and birthday gifts are cheap or used, and many times things that they need. Oftentimes there is an activity that our kids would like to do, such as my son this year who is joining hockey. So hockey gear is now a gift. We also enlist family and friends to help gift in the same way. Last year, my daughter needed a new sleeping bag because we do go camping. So that was a gift from her aunt. It wasn't something that we had extra that we needed to buy. We asked that it was a gift from somebody. The kids needed new bikes the other year as well. So family chipped in and they bought used bikes for both kids. Gifts don't need to be toys. We actually don't have many toys in our house for that reason. Most of it's plastic garbage that doesn't get played with after too long after they've had it anyways. So I find toys to be quite useless. I love to get my kids doing activities, and if that activity needs gear, then that's what they get. But I find birthdays and Christmas and Easter is so incredibly blown out of proportion these days that it becomes so unattainable for so many people, and it's really not good for the kids in the end anyways. So keeping it at a minimum is for the best for everybody. I know there's so often lately where I see Easter or Christmas with the parents showing the Christmas tree or the Easter baskets with all of the gifts. And this could be an incredible amount of gifts that are just spilling out from the Christmas tree or from the Easter baskets. And I feel like this is just another way of keeping up with the Joneses, where they're showing all the things that they have bought for their kids. And then it ends up making other people feel less than, or that they're not doing good enough for their kids. And then they have to run out and get more. And I know in the past I've felt that way myself, and it's hard. So it's a little bit better to maybe even stay off social media around that time to keep from impulse buying when things like that might get to you. I've said so many times that the more skills that you have, the less money that you need. There's so many skills that you can learn to help save you money. Gardening, preserving, cooking, baking, fixing, and building. Once you're able to learn these skills, you are much less reliant on paying others to do them for you. The amount of money you can save is incredible. Living on one income is not going to look the same as it used to, and it's not going to be the same for everyone. But it is possible. If you're looking for more ways to make this happen, I have an entire playlist on frugal tips to help you save money and be able to live on just one income. I have that linked right here, so make sure you click that. There are tons of videos there to help you out. If this is a journey that you really want to take and you want to live on one income, I am going to say the best step that you could take right now is believing that it is possible. Having that positive mindset will help you so much in figuring out how to make this lifestyle work for you and your family. That is definitely the biggest thing you can do. It's just taking steps after that. So make sure you follow along and go ahead and read the comments, because I have such a wonderful community here and so many people here have really great suggestions that are so very helpful. And if you're looking for anything extra, you can find me over on Patreon, where I do weekly posts as well as video tutorials that I don't share anywhere else. So if you're looking for that, I will have that linked in the description box for you. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I will see you guys next time.